This is our, fourth one?
Fourth episode. The last one was awful. The one before that was awful. The one before that was even worse. Not so much the episode, but the terrible things that happen.
Yeah, there's no great true crime cases. Believe me, I've been trying to look for them.
So this one's also awful?
This one's awful, yes.
Okay, cool.
This one's awful.
That's great.
I'm doing this one a little bit different, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous about it. The other episodes I've done very detailed notes. It's very scripted. Even you said that sometimes I tended to read from my notes too much a little bit.
It just sounded a little reedy. I
Well,
also said do it however you want
I
to.
didn't want to miss anything. Well, this one,
Of course.
feel like I've read so much about it, watched so many little documentaries about it that I said, you know what? I have the bare minimal notes, and I'm doing this mostly from memory. So let's see how this goes. It could go terribly, but I think it'll be fine.
Good.
So this is actually one that's going to take place in your neck of the woods.
Oh yeah, so up north, huh?
Walker, Michigan.
All right. Oh, actually in Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Walker,
I have never even heard of Walker.
It's a suburb.
Where on the mitten? Show me on the mitten.
Ooh, it's a suburb of Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, somewhere here.
Yeah, I think that's more on the kind of near Detroit. I think it's about an hour out of Detroit. I think it's I'm gonna get this wrong. Not Grand Rapids. Southeast of Detroit.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
I'm gonna take your word for that.
Damn it, I know I'm wrong.
Yeah. So
anyways,
I was reading through this. I was like, oh, it's up there, even though not around where we are, where we are when we go up to Michigan.
Right. Which is about an hour north of Detroit. Oh, okay. This is Grand Rapids is way west. Way west. Okay.
Yeah, it's right across the water from Milwaukee, it looks like.
Yeah. From
Michigan.
Wisconsin. But yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the city Milwaukee. Anyways, enough geography.
I know, because this is a visual medium, right?
Right.
So we're going to be talking about Gwendolyn Graham.
I can put that up here on the. So this is what we're looking at. This is what I'm used to. Detroit. This is where Grand Rapids is. Grand Rapids.
And
this is where I thought it was for some reason. Clearly was thinking of something else.
And we are in Walker.
All right. This is where I normally go sometimes when I think. This all looks crazy to me now. We're 70. Okay. I haven't lived here in so long now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
really
here.
much
Okay.
about
75. Then you go up here and you have to. Oh, yeah. 75 goes all over the place. So, yeah. Okay. So this is where I normally am, the 70.
So we are way over there in this story.
Yeah, I think my sister lives more out here-ish. Way out here.
Yeah, so we are way out in Grand Rapids.
All right, enough boring geography.
Yeah, so this is the case of Gwendolyn
School
Graham
sucks.
and Catherine Wood. Have you heard of this one being from Michigan?
No, say those names again. I'm sorry.
Gwendolyn Graham and Catherine Wood.
Gwendolyn Graham and Catherine Wood.
Yeah, I'm going to be calling her Gwen because Gwendolyn's too hard to say.
Okay.
It's exhausting.
So these are two ladies.
These are two ladies,
All right.
yes. So this crime took place in 1986, if that gives you any context about when that was. Around the time I was
86.
born.
I was 1 year old.
Yeah, I was just being born. Probably not hadn't been born yet.
The Nintendo Entertainment System had pretty much just came out in the United States.
Yeah.
All the pictures were brown tinted for some reason. And people had really large glasses. Yes.
That's them.
Right.
So, again, not a visual medium, but go look them up. Go look their pictures up. You can see what they look like.
Right.
So I'm going to start this story kind of at the end. So we're going to, kind of do this differently. So on October 7th, 1988, Ken Wood entered a Walker Police Department to report his ex-wife Kathy Wood had confessed to killing 5 women at a nursing home where she was employed.
Which one is which?
So the blonde is Kathy Wood.
Okay.
That her ex-husband was the one who I just talked about walking into a police department and saying, "Hey, my ex-wife
clearly dyed blonde hair."
Clearly.
And the one on the left with the glasses I just described.
Yeah, is Gwen Graham.
Is Gwendolyn, or Gwen for short.
Yeah, we're
Graham.
gonna call her Gwen.
They call her Kathy for short.
Yes.
So it could be Gwen and Kathy.
Gwen and Kathy.
Or Kathy and Gwen, if you want to be alphabetical.
Yeah.
All right. These are the people.
Those are them. So her ex-husband walks in, tells the cops, hey, look, my ex confessed to murdering all these women to me with her lover, Gwen.
Okay.
So this is where this story starts. So the cops are like caught off guard, right? Like, wait, what did you say? So they decide to do some investigating. So Gwen and Kathy met at Alpine Manor, where they were both certified nursing assistants.
Oh, okay.
So I decided, like, this case, when I decided to do it, I didn't realize how terrible it was going to be. But I was surprised that not a lot of people had talked about it, because this is, like, I don't know. I guess, like, I'm bringing in some of my experience working at nursing homes. My first 2 nursing jobs were at nursing homes.
All right, what are you getting at?
I think it's terrible that these elderly people are living there. Usually, not a lot of families visiting them.
Oh yeah,
These people
you
are
talking about the
taking advantage
condition,
of,
the condition in nursing homes. Oh, I
Yes.
think we all know about that. And for our older listeners, y'all better be good to your kids, because they'll let you go into the bad ones. You don't want to be in the bad ones.
It's just so sad to me because
They'll steal your stuff,
They're older. They'll kill you.
and they'll
apparently.
murder you.
It's just terrible.
Okay, so these people were nursing assistants.
They
Both
were
of them?
nursing assistants.
Did they
both of
meet
them.
in the the home?
They
Okay.
did. So just to give you like a little background on them, I don't know.
All right, just take me back a little bit to what was the first thing that happened? You said that one of them confessed to their ex's murder.
No, her ex walked into the police department and said, "Hey, my ex-wife confessed to
Which
murder."
one's ex?
Kathy's.
Kathy's. So the fake blonde hair, that one of her ex-girlfriends or whatever went into the police station and confessed.
This is her ex-husband,
Ex-husband.
Kenwood.
Oh, okay. All right. So her ex-husband, a dude,
Yes.
went into a police station and ratted her out,
Yes.
basically.
In 1988.
I say ratted out, but I mean, when you're going around killing, murdering a bunch of people, are you really ratting somebody out at that point?
No, it would be better if he would have told on her a year and a half earlier when she actually told him.
Okay.
So he hung on
So he
to that
tried
for
to
a
be
while.
a supportive husband.
He
A supportive
did, although,
murder husband.
Although I've read a lot about him, and it seems like he did that for selfish reasons. I guess
What do you mean?
he basically...
Like he didn't confess, or he didn't go forth for selfish reasons, you're saying?
He went forth for
He went.
selfish
He
reasons.
did go forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had kind of hung on to that information she had told him when she confessed to him,
Right.
and kind of held it over her head because he wanted to still be in a relationship with her.
Uh-huh.
And so he kind of held that over her to keep her around in his proximity, kind of still hooking up with him and being like around,
Okay.
right? Even though she was very obviously a lesbian and really wanted nothing to do with him.
She is wearing flannel.
Yeah, she is. And this is nothing against lesbians at all. Just throwing that out there. These were just 2 horrible people.
Why would it be against lesbians?
I don't know. We were just talking about that. So, but yeah.
I don't
so
think
he
all
kinda-
lesbians are murderers.
No, definitely not.
These 2 might be.
They definitely
were.
are.
I don't know. I haven't heard the whole story yet.
Well, let me tell you about it.
All right.
So let's go back to their like histories a little bit. So Gwen Graham, which is the brunette, the one with the big glasses on, she was raised. She was born in California, but then they ended up moving to Texas. She actually grew up in a town.
Okay, so-
Tyler, Texas.
Okay, so this does have. I live in Texas now, and I'm from Michigan.
Exactly. Well, she
Oh.
grew up in Texas and moved to Michigan.
She went the opposite direction. Holding joke back.
Yes. So she lived in like a little suburb of Dallas called Tyler. Her dad was like a terrible man. Basically, when she was born, he told the mom, "Do not touch her. Don't hug her. Don't pick her up when she cries. She needs to learn how to be independent."
So
this was when she was like a
The
newborn.
dad was saying to the mom, like, don't be like motherly
At all.
At all.
And her mother followed suit with that. Her dad was in the military, and he was a very like hard man who also ended up sexually abusing her most of her life.
Oh, okay. Well, I was about to try and understand his perspective, but I'm not even going to,
No.
not even going to try now.
No, he was a pretty terrible man.
Okay. That sucks.
She ended up, from that experience, really hating men.
I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, and being very distrustful of them.
That's the word I was about to go for next. Yeah.
Yeah. So she did not take it. It made her a very cold person and a very controlling person over her circumstances.
Sure.
Like
I can only imagine.
There's some speculation she felt really out of control in that situation as a kid, so in her adulthood she decided she needed to
Another
take control
awesome,
of things.
terrible episode about children being abused
I
and stuff.
know.
Great.
I just thought I would kind of throw some of their background in there so
Yeah.
that you could kind of understand where they were coming from when they met.
This was Catherine, right?
No, this was Gwendolyn.
This is Gwendolyn we're talking about.
The
Oh,
one in
okay.
brown with the big glasses.
Okay, gotcha.
Kathy, she
also has flannel on, but it's hidden under the sweater. You can see it here. To put
Oh, yeah, I see her collar.
Yeah. Stealth,
Yeah.
but there.
It's there.
I do love those. There's something about these glasses I absolutely love.
It reminds me of my childhood.
Yeah. I don't like the hair though. I've never liked
The mullet?
Yeah, the mullet look.
Yeah, she's got the mullet.
I've never liked the mullet look. But you know what? She rocks it pretty all right.
She was rocking it, but she was not a great person.
Not
so
a great
let's
person.
No, she's actually terrible.
Oh, here's my star background.
So, Kathy, on the other hand, where she grew up, she didn't have she had a pretty normal childhood. Her dad, although did make fun of her appearance all the time, she was about 6 foot as a teenager, about 300 pounds.
Oh, okay. I was about to say like B. Arthur, but not like.
No, she was tall and big.
I see.
And so her dad made fun of her a lot, which is not nice to do.
No,
at
no.
all. And
not.
so she became really
I'm
self-conscious
sure she's
of
probably
herself.
already getting enough of that from the whole outside world. You know.
Yeah.
Be a dad.
Exactly.
And this is this which one is this? This
blonde.
This is Kathy. Now.
Yeah,
not
this is
not the
Kathy.
military
No.
dad, not the military abusive dad, but the body shaming,
The body shaming dad.
dickhead dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she, her dad was really hard on her about her looks. She became really self-conscious. A big thing that happened in her childhood that really shaped her later on, kind of her psyche, was that when she was a teenager, she started dating this guy named David, and she fell in love with him
Okay.
as a teenager.
Is this the person that she married?
No.
Okay.
So
Because she's the one who had the husband who
Yes.
ratted out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
All right.
But she fell in love with this guy named David. Well, one day she came to say hi to her boyfriend, her high school boyfriend. Showed up to his house and asked...
David.
David.
Okay.
Showed up to David's house and asked his parents, hey, can I see David? And David's parents says, what? We don't have a son named David. We do have a daughter named Diane. So this girl had been pretending like she was a male
Oh.
the whole time they were dating. And
So like catfished.
she got catfished hard.
Like when you're that's what it's called when you're like trying to be somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like pretending.
Pretending to be somebody else when you're not.
Right. Okay.
So she was really upset, like she felt betrayed. She kind of felt confused about her sexual identity after that because she had fallen for this person that she thought was a man, but actually ended up being a female.
Yeah.
And that
You probably want to be more straightforward with that kind of thing.
very much so, like this Diane person really should have told her up front, like, hey,
This is my situation.
this is my situation. Just
Right.
been honest. But, it was the 70s, I think, when this happened. So
this was possibly even before the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
when did that come out?
I don't know.
have
You showed
no-
it to me.
I know,
That was a
but I
weird
don't-
ass movie, by the way.
It's a very strange movie. It had some great songs in it, though. Like, come on.
The dance, the Rock'em Time dance. That was a cool.
Time Warp?
Yeah. That was a cool song.
I like Damn It, Janet. That's one of my favorite songs. So,
Yeah,
and then
I like the Rock'em Time. Bop.
Meatloaf is in it at the end.
Meatloaf is in it. He's the motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in
He
peace,
is.
Meatloaf.
I know.
I would have never watched that movie had you not made me watch it.
It's a really good movie.
I still don't
It's
know what the
very
hell
strange,
even happened.
But it's really good. I don't know when that movie was made. That's
70
a hard
something. It's
question.
gotta be 70 something.
But yeah, so
Anyways, point being,
I'm sure-
people weren't like knowing about these things at all.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that
I don't know. I wasn't even alive.
Same. I don't know if this person was trans or if I don't know what their situation was.
Yeah.
But it was a really fucked up thing to do to her.
Or just like potentially manipulating people, like
exactly.
Intentionally, I mean, manipulating people.
Mm-hmm. So that that affected her.
Our dog's lying on his back. He's cute.
Yeah, he's kind of upset we're not paying attention to him right now. So.
He's a husky.
He is a husky.
We'll figure out how to put pictures of him up on the channel.
Yes, we will.
He's a cute boy.
He is a cute boy. Back to terribleness.
Yeah, sorry. I take little happy breaks.
I know, sorry. I'm just like, I'm doing this all from memory right now.
Yeah, no, you're doing a good job.
So none of this is written down. This is all, and I'll tell you
right off the cuff
where I got my information from because I always forget to
Wikipedia.
Do this. No, actually not from Wikipedia at all. So I actually watched this YouTube channel that I found. It did a really good coverage of this called... this is a very strange name, but it's called MurderMurderNews. They did a super fantastic job on this.
That's the name of the YouTube channel?
Yeah,
MurderMurderNews. So shout out to that. Obviously, we'll have to put that in the description.
It'll be in the show notes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do that, and then also I watched a really good documentary by Oxygen.
Was their format like ours, or was it like a total different thing?
No, their format was similar to ours.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
But
we're copying these people basically.
What I liked about not at all. What I really liked about Murder News is because a lot of the coverage you see on this case, they don't mention the victims at all, and I kind of hate that. Like it was hard to even find the victims' names.
You're hating Murder News?
No. They were the only ones that talked about
the
victims.
Oh, okay.
All the other coverage I've seen didn't even mention them.
Isn't that the trend now to like not talk about the victims because of like backlash or something? I've heard about this from people.
Well, I mean, not talk negatively about victims, yeah, but I think you should say their names and talk about who these people were.
Yeah, there's like a whole like don't exploit the victims.
Well, obviously not, but I think that they should be talked about.
Do you think maybe that's the angle?
I don't think so. I think that the crime is just a lot of people think that it's salacious and let's talk about this, and they kind of leave out the people who were affected by it because it's not as fun to talk about the people that got murdered.
I guess the intent is really what matters there.
Yeah,
I can't judge without hearing it myself, so I'll have to take your word for it.
But I wrote down a lot about the victims of this
case. Which I will, because you're my lovely wife, and of course I will take your word for it.
Thanks. But I wrote down a lot about the
Listening
victims.
into it later.
Shut up. I think the victims of this case need a voice because they were rendered voiceless.
By the way, I don't actually listen to true crime stuff at all.
Right. He doesn't.
I really don't.
But anyway, I think the victims are really important in this case.
Okay.
I really liked their coverage. I also watched Oxygen.
So who are the victims in this one?
We'll talk about them in a little bit.
So I'm sure there's like a long laundry list of victims.
There's 5.
Oh, okay.
So not as many as you think, but still too many.
Sure. More than 0.
Yeah, more than 0.
Yeah.
So the other documentary I watched on this was an Oxygen series called oh my god.
This is why you need the notes.
This is why I need notes.
All right, so it's a series on Oxygen, which is Oprah's network, right?
Yes. Oxygen.
And she is the richest woman in the world?
Is she still?
I don't know. Isn't she like leader of an island? Like, doesn't she have her own country?
I don't think so, does she?
I thought so. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
It is called... You know what? I don't know. It's called, like, lethal something. They talk about medical cases, like stuff in medicine.
Okay. I guess we'll put it in the description
I'll find
later.
it and put it in the description. Sorry. It's an Oxygen series.
Way to go.
I know. See, this is what I was afraid of, like, memorizing stuff off the top of my head. But anyways, you can find it. Just go type in Oxygen series, Gwen Graham, and Kathy Woods. You'll be able to find it.
I mean, I could do that while you say things.
Right. So, okay. So we talked about her being catfished. That really shaped, like, she got really confused about her sexuality. And I argue that she probably already was having those feelings and it made her acknowledge them.
License to Kill.
License to Kill. There we go. Thank you.
On Oxygen.
Yes. And they did a really good job on this case, too. I really liked what they did with it.
Oh, they have a whole killer couples thing. We're just ripping off Oxygen.
Well, yeah, they have, they do. They have snapped killer couples. Yeah. I mean, Oxygen's stuff everything. So.
I've never watched Oxygen.
Oh, they do some good stuff. They also do some really terrible stuff.
Okay. So they're like everything else in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff and bad stuff, and you can look at it whatever way you'd like.
Exactly.
And maybe they're squeaky dogs.
Oh no! Come on, dude.
All right. So, License to Kill.
Yes.
Not unlike James Bond.
Yes.
All right.
Let's hope he stops that, because that's gonna annoy the crap out of me.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you can keep going. I'll deal with dog.
So, Kathy Graham, she ends up meeting this Ken Wood, which would become her husband. She decides to marry him because she thinks, right, that's what you do back then. You get married, you have kids. That's what the female role is in the 70s. She gets married to Ken Wood, and she ends up absolutely despising him. She talks in like interviews about how he was a terrible lover. She had...
With a last name like that.
Right. She was not into him. She was kind of annoyed she married him. They had a daughter together.
Should be Ken Cheese.
I don't think it had anything to do with him.
Oh.
She had a daughter, and
I see. She just wasn't into it.
She wasn't into
Okay.
it.
Well, it takes two to tango.
Yeah. So she,
You can pet a puppy.
I know, but it's distracting me. Sorry.
Okay.
So she marries Ken Wood. They have a daughter together. She ends up basically one day just giving him the daughter and like, I don't want to do this anymore. And she pieces out.
So she bails.
She bailed.
That's not typical.
No.
It's usually the guy who's the one who's the bailer.
Yeah, typically it is. But nope, she was like,
There's no umbilical cord.
Yeah, she was obviously not a mothering type. She kind of just pieced out on her kid and left the kid.
That sucks.
So she starts saying that she wants to pursue something.
This is the same Ken Wood who ratted her out.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. But he was still getting some, so he didn't want to yet.
They were still kind of in like a weird relationship where he kind of like, she would come back to him sometimes.
Right.
And, like,
he would get what he wanted, and she would get what she wanted, which was his silence.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could put it that way. Yeah.
Right.
So
maybe it wasn't super directly conscious, but that's what was happening.
Yeah, it kind of was what was happening.
It sounds like, at least. I don't know anything.
And it seems like, I don't know, like what I felt like is they had a pretty good friendship, but they just weren't lovers.
Sure.
And that's kind of what happened. They tried to take their friendship to being lovers, and it just didn't work out.
Not compatible.
No. Because she was obviously a lesbian.
Not into dudes.
She was not into guys. But I think it's probably hard to admit back in the 70s that, you know, you were gay. I'm sure that was not a great time to be gay in this country.
From what I hear, it's still not...
Still not great. Better.
Better, I guess. I don't know.
But,
Seriously, I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
So, she decides to start looking for a job because she wants to be independent. She wants to support herself. That was a weird slip. She wanted to support herself. So she finds an ad in the paper to be a certified nursing assistant at this nursing home. She starts there.
Is that like a path on the way to nursing? Did you did something like that, right? Or yours was a little different?
I was a licensed vocational nurse. I was never a CNA, but yeah, a lot of people do start as CNAs.
Okay, so
it's a tough job and it's a thankless job.
Isn't nursing kind of that way along?
Yeah, CNAs are even worse though because they get paid a fraction what nurses do and they do all the grunt work and
diapers, adult diapers.
Adult diapers.
Yeah.
I love
job.
my CNAs that I have at my job. They're the bomb, and they're the only reason my job goes smoothly.
Oh, so you have them in regular hospitals too?
Absolutely.
Okay, so not just nursing homes.
Yeah, they call them techs at my job, nurse techs, but they're certified nursing assistants.
Gotcha.
But at nursing homes, this job is very thankless and very brutal. Like, they do all the work, they do all the bed baths, they get people up, they turn people, change their beds, everything. It's their hard job. And that's one of the things is if you don't like working with the elderly, don't work at a nursing home. If you don't have respect for them, if you aren't, I mean, you don't have to love your job. It's a hard job, but at least like be respectful and realize this is this person's home.
Sure.
You know, because they live there. That's their residence.
That's depressing.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible.
Everything's depressing about this.
So Kathy Wood meets Gwen Graham, and they are nursing assistants at this place, Alpine Manor. And it is in Walker, Michigan, like we talked about, right outside of Grand Rapids. So, someone said husky.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was responding to our live chat because this is a live
I keep
YouTube
this is live.
thing.
No pressure or anything for me to remember all my shit.
A live YouTube thing. If you want to see more live YouTube things in the future, remember to subscribe. Subscribe.
Please, it really helps our algorithm. We really want to get out there to people.
It's not our algorithm.
YouTube's algorithm.
I didn't make it.
Yeah, YouTube's algorithm.
What if I made YouTube back in the day?
We would probably never have met.
That's true.
You would not have been at R&R that night.
I would have most certainly not. Yeah.
So, all right. So they meet, right? So some interviews have said that at this nursing home was like a hub for lesbians. Like
what? Wait,
basically, like most of the employees there were lesbians, and they were all kind of intermingled together,
How does this happen?
having relationships.
How does this come to be?
I have no idea. It probably was just happenstance.
Was it like a lesbian bar that turned into a nursing home?
Pretty much. Probably like all the people from the bar were like, "Hey, do you need a job?
Like,
Come
we're
work
not
at this
making money
place."
selling liquor. Let's take care of old people.
Exactly. I don't know how.
Sorry.
I don't know how this happened, but it was like a whole little intercommunity in this nursing home. Well, Gwen and Kathy met, and they actually didn't start dating initially. Kathy was actually dating somebody else in that nursing home, but when she met Gwen, something just sparked.
Sure.
Well,
Murder
did spark. And I will tell you, most of the information I'm telling you about was from Kathy Wood's interviews.
Okay.
So this is all according to Kathy. So, like some other cases I've said, this may or may not be true. This is what she says happened.
Okay.
Gwendolyn Graham Vietnamese? Is that the word?
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot. Vehemently.
Gwen Graham says none of this shit happened.
Right. Strongly suggested. Implies.
Suggested that none of this happened.
Right.
So Kathy Wood says they meet. They have this love affair that's like very passionate, but intertwined with like
Chaos.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Right.
It was.
One of those hot and heavy, passionate, super intensely passionate relationships where they're almost murdering each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thrive off of danger and it being wrong, and they also thrive off of just like sadistic practices.
Right, and self-destructive behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like to start chaos in this nursing home. They
Been in one of those relationships.
Yeah, never fun, never great. Don't stay in those.
Ugh.
Not good for anybody. So they start like playing tricks where they would take these residents into different rooms. So they would basically mix up all the residents into different beds and watch the staff just go into full chaos mode. Like, where is this patient? Oh my God, this patient got this medication. We thought this patient was here. Oh my God, what happened?
That would be like a funny like Monty Python skit.
It would if this wasn't like real people.
Yeah,
like
and that makes it
poor,
sad.
like these are like
people's
Alzheimer's
grandmas and grandpas
that have Alzheimer's and have no like say in what's happening to them.
Right.
So
poor grandma.
extremely sad. Like, and like I said, I worked in a nursing home. These people, like, they need your care. They need someone to be nice to them because some of their family members never come and visit them.
They need somebody to watch over them.
Yeah, and like protect them like they were your grandma, right? That's how you want to be taken care of when you're an adult and you're in that situation. Like, you're an elderly person.
Yeah.
You would want someone to be taking care of you, not manipulating you, stealing from you, all of that stuff.
And neglecting your diaper changes.
Neglecting you, period. And just abusing
Most importantly,
you.
the diaper changes. Let's be honest.
Well, because that can lead to infections.
Grossness and embarrassment.
And it's just humiliating.
Right.
I don't know. It's terrible. So they start.
I don't
want
to ever get old like that. Ugh, please. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get that old. Like,
it's really sad.
ugh.
Sometimes you don't have a lot of a choice.
I guess if I can still play video games,
You'd be okay.
maybe. Like, it depends on how well. Like, do my fingers still move good?
I mean, yeah, but does your brain still work good?
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one.
That's the tough one.
That's a tough one. I don't know. I've got a few years to figure that one out.
So, Gwen, according to Kathy Wood, Gwen and her decide that they're going to play a little game. They're going to start murdering people.
A game of murder. Yeah.
And literally, because what they want to do is they have this book.
Wait, so they're going to start killing old people?
Yes.
Oh, God.
They decide that they have this little book where they keep record of everyone that dies at this nursing home. All of the residents' names that die get written in this book, right? They decide that they want the first letter of the patient's last name to spell murder. Each one named murder. God,
that's so cheesy.
It's cheesy and like, what the fuck? Like, really?
Yeah, it's not even that clever.
It's not clever, and it's just ridiculous.
Oh, they probably. Oh, I bet The Shining just came out, and the murder
Red
on
rum.
the wall, the red rum. There was a mirror that showed it at one point, right?
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Red rum, yeah, because then you read it backwards.
Yeah,
and it's
something like that. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm just like, that's so stupid.
That is dumb.
Guys,
that's not that cool.
They decide to
be
murder.
cooler than that if you're going to murder people.
I know.
Don't murder people.
Actually, don't do that.
Right.
Just don't murder people.
But if you do, be cooler.
So this is where I'm going to start talking about the victims, because it sucks because you can't really find their names, and I think that they probably need a little bit of their story told.
Here comes the really sad part.
So their first victim, her name was Marguerite Chambers. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. I saw some pictures of her on that Oxygen program. She was such a pretty, like...
License to kill.
Yeah, License to Kill. They actually had some of her family members on there.
Oh, really?
Talking about her. She was this, like, really vivacious, like, woman. She really loved life. She loved dancing. Her and her husband would go dancing all the time. Really sadly, at about 48 years old, she started forgetting things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she was only 48. That's super young.
Yeah. Lead paint. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it could be just like a genetic component,
yeah,
you know?
Who knows?
Early onset Alzheimer's is usually pretty genetic.
Ah, gotcha.
So she starts forgetting things. And sorry.
Speaking of which.
Exactly. I want to make sure I like talk about her appropriately, you know?
Yeah. Don't.
So her family basically says that she starts aging backwards. So
like mentally. Not like
not physically.
Jack with
no, not the movie Jack. Yeah. No, not physically, but just mentally. She starts, turning into a child. She starts, acting like she's younger. She starts forgetting. She starts wandering. She becomes combative. She just starts regressing really quickly. So they really didn't want to, but they finally ended up putting her in a nursing home in Alpine Village. So she moved in 1985, and she lived there for the next 2 years. In 1986, and this is December, so this is actually when I was born, December 1986, her daughter comes to visit her, and she had something on her face, so her daughter goes and gets a wet rag and tries to wipe her face off. Well, Marguerite gets really combative, and really, she looked fearful. And her daughter was like, that's so weird. But, the staff there comforted her and said, this is just part of the disease process of Alzheimer's.
Right.
So they get really combative.
But she made an association.
She realized that she looked scared.
Yeah.
And, at the time she brought it up, and then...
as scared as our cat looks right now with our husky 6 inches from her
right.
face.
So this was in December of 1986 when that incident happened.
Yeah.
Marguerite was found dead in her bed in January of 1987, so only a month later. So her family was devastated, obviously. They were devastated because a doctor had just said how healthy she was.
Right.
Like, physically, Marguerite was super healthy. Mentally, she was not, but, they thought she could live
another 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So they were shocked when she died in her sleep, but they were also, like, well, if she had to go, at least that was like a peaceful way.
Sure.
So they,
Little did they know.
They went on with their lives. So let's go back to Kathy and Gwen. Marguerite, their first victim, was killed.
Was it murder?
It was.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
So Gwen smothered Marguerite with a rag.
So there was the association. I knew it, just like that movie. The Mel Gibson one where they ransom, where they steal his son. Lieutenant Dan steals Mel Gibson's son, and at the end, it winds up being that Lieutenant Dan winds up being the hero and bringing back the boy, even though he was actually the kidnapper. But the boy hears Lieutenant Dan's voice, the association, and gets really scared and pees himself. Oh. And then Mel Gibson realizes this and then goes on a very masculine car chase or something like that.
I have never seen this movie.
It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly right.
So she saw the towel, which she was being abused with.
So what happened was they tried to kill her beforehand, and it didn't work. So they abandoned the idea, but then they decided to come back.
Right, clearly. They tried to smother her with a towel before, and then when she saw it again, she was like,
yep, no. But she couldn't verbalize that she was scared because of her advanced Alzheimer's.
Right. Plus, she knew, like, maybe that, or she knew, like, listen, if these people don't understand or believe what I'm saying, I'm going to be left here, and these people are going to know that I tried to rat them out. They're definitely going to kill me now.
That's true. I've never thought of it that way, but maybe. So, really sad. Kathy says she was always just the lookout in these cases. She says Gwendolyn did all the killing herself.
But that's what the lookout, that's what the guilty sidekick
and that's like I said, that's why I wanted to make sure you knew that this is Kathy's story.
Right.
Gwen just denied everything at the end, so this is Kathy's story. Okay. So that was their first victim.
Maybe so.
Their other victims, so they ended up going on to have 5 altogether. So she was the first. The next one was...
what was the first one? Was
Marguerite Chambers.
Marguerite Chambers, the 48-year-old.
She was diagnosed at 48.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly her age when she died. Okay. But that's when she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Okay. So early diagnosed Alzheimer patient Marge Chambers, smothered to death by Gwendolyn, and allegedly Kathy just looking out.
Right. So let's talk about their other victims, because I feel like, they should have a name.
Yeah. It
was really hard to find their names. I'm going to tell you that, which I thought was kind of crazy, that it was hard to find their names. So Myrtle Luss was the second one.
Myrtle Luss.
Mm-hmm. She was 95 years old. She was unable to walk and talk due to several strokes.
And being 95.
Right. But they said they thought she possibly had Alzheimer's as well. Mm-hmm. Although they couldn't tell if the brain damage was because of the stroke she had had.
Or being 95.
But
I have a 96-year-old grandmother, and all those things are on the table at that age.
That's true. But they said she was physically very healthy. Like, besides those strokes, like, she was physically, her heart was good. Right. Everything was great. Yeah. Well, she was found unresponsive in her bed and died in her sleep on February 10th, 1987.
So same means of life endingness.
Right. So
the smothering.
Every patient was killed the same way.
Okay.
I will tell you that.
They didn't catch on earlier?
So they didn't, because I worked at a nursing home. Do you
didn't see that pattern? Get smothered in their sleep?
They don't know they were smothered. They thought they just passed away in their sleep, which happens with elderly people. So, if this would have been a place where a bunch of kids were living, they would have been like, why are so many kids dying in their sleep? But when it's people in their late 90s and, they're thinking, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. They died peacefully in their sleep. And their families probably took comfort in knowing they died in their sleep and didn't have a really treacherous end that was painful.
Little did they know.
Yeah.
They did.
Which sucks, because these families didn't end up learning about this till much later, after their family members had died. So.
Oh yeah, I bet that sucks.
How bad was it?
They thought it was this
peaceful.
I don't even know if you'd want that. Like, wouldn't it be kind of almost more merciful just to keep letting them think that it was a nice, peaceful death?
Yeah, but
if it's not the truth, it's not the truth. You gotta know what's up.
Yeah, and they have to be told.
Such is life.
Their third victim was Mae Mason.
That's a cool name.
It is, and she was beautiful. I saw pictures of her. Her family was on that series as well. She ended up having kids very early. She's a very young mom, and she was a housewife, but she was really into the arts. She loved operas. She loved plays. She loved gardening and plants. That was like her thing. And she ended up becoming an interior designer at 65 years old.
Oh, that's cool.
Like she was a housewife her whole life, gave everything to her family,
Sure.
but decided later on in life, like, hey, I want something for me.
Right, yeah.
So she became an interior designer. Apparently was really good at it.
Nice.
So her husband had died, pretty early. She was a widow around that time where she decided to become an interior designer.
Okay. Like around 65.
Yeah, so at 69 years old, she got a boyfriend. And they went out dancing every night. Like her.
I'm not saying, but I was just thinking, 65, beautiful May. How do we know her husband went out of natural causes? This new boyfriend came around pretty quick, huh?
No, her husband died much earlier than her. So the interior designing was.
I don't know.
Don't speculate about.
For those who
our
can't
victims.
see, and which is everyone, I am giving quite the squinty eye of judgment, of suspicion. No, I'm sure Mae Mason was a lovely woman who
She was, and it was so
was
cute.
a lovely wife, and her husband, I'm sure, died of totally natural stuff, which sucks.
Yeah, it does. But she said
She was super hot, and he could have been way older. That's how that works sometimes.
It was. They were the same, around the same.
Oh, were
age,
they?
Though, yeah.
Oh, well then.
So it was so cute though because her son-in-law was actually in this documentary, and her son-in-law said that he ended up loving her like she was his mom.
Oh wow.
And like it was his favorite person was his mother-in-law. So it was
nice.
really cute.
That is cute.
And her granddaughter was in this and said, I was kind of fond of this because it was her Nana and I had a Nana, so it was kind of cute.
Right.
So like she said her Nana was like her favorite person, and her and her boyfriend would go out dancing like when she was like 69, 70. They would go every Friday night. You knew they were going to be dancing.
That's cool.
So she was,
I'm having that much fun.
Unfortunately, one day her granddaughter comes home and finds her grandma trying to dry her underwear in the oven.
Ooh.
And that's when her granddaughter kind of talked to her mom and said, hey, we may need to like look at Nana.
Right.
So they, at that time,
I mean, she could have just been being intuitive.
Yeah, but I think her grandma knew. I think she knew that something was wrong.
Right.
Well, they took her in, and more incidents started happening, and they realized she had.
Or she was onto something, and oven underwear is the way to go. I'm just saying.
Right. It's really sad though. She started deteriorating pretty quickly. She began to wander.
Yeah, it's not.
They ended up having to put her in Alpine Manor. Because they also had another bad experience at another nursing home.
It sounds fancy.
That. The son-in-law that really loved Mae said that they thought it was a great place.
Yeah.
That was what they thought. They liked the staff. They didn't see any problems with it.
It had a good name.
And it may have been a fine place. These two
minus the murder.
Minus these sicko people that work there. But she was found dead in her sleep February 16th of 1987, so only 6 days after Myrtle.
Wow.
She's also
again, okay, this goes again. How is this not being noticed?
Right.
Come on.
I mean, you're right. It probably should have.
It doesn't
been
take
like, hey,
a Sherlock Holmes to string together these circumstances and order of events and such.
Right.
Eh.
So, fourth victim, her name is Belle Burkhart. I hope I'm saying that right. Belle Burkhart.
I think some blind eyes are being turned.
I think so too. I mean, I hope that maybe someone started being like, this is a lot of people that are dying in their sleep really close together.
Yeah, what the frick?
So, Belle Burkhart was born on Manitowoc Island. Isn't that the...
Manitowoc. That's great. Say it one more time. No, do it. No, one more time. Say it.
Manitowoc Island?
Manitowoc.
How is it really said?
You've messed that all up. It's Mackinac.
Mackinac Island. I knew I was saying it wrong.
Yeah.
So Mackinac Island. But although she moved and lived and grew up in Grand Rapids, so she moved there as a kid.
Yeah.
So at 67...
In Mackinac, what did we say?
Mackinac Island,
right.
Shut up. God almighty.
I can't even say it wrong.
I'm
Michigan represent!
So at 67, she started having trouble getting around and being really forgetful.
Thanks, Michigan.
I mispronounce everything. I'm sure there's some Texas stuff that you would mispronounce.
Not really. They don't really try hard to make things impronounceable. unpronounceable here.
You're
It's
right.
pretty.
It's
It's all pretty straightforward.
You're right. Pretty simple.
Except for the Alamo. Actually, that's pretty straightforward too. But that's not even a Texan word. That's a
Spanish.
his Spanish word. Yeah.
Yeah.
When
It's not
the
hard to-
when the Texans liberated.
Quotes, heavy quotes on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Anyways, this isn't U.S. history cast.
This isn't U.S. history cast.
I don't even know much about that. My cousin Calvin is his Titans of Time name.
Mm-hmm.
He should do that podcast.
Yes, he would be a good history podcaster.
I think so.
I think he would. I think it'd be a great history podcast.
Yeah.
So, Belle Burkhart, she starts forgetting things. She starts wandering. She was also a super heavy drinker, which her family says could have caused her Alzheimer-like symptoms. So they're not sure if she had Alzheimer's or if it was induced by her alcoholism.
Right.
She was quite combative at this Alpine Manor. She usually had to be restrained.
This is Belle.
Yes, this
Belle
is
Burkhart.
Belle Burkhart.
Okay.
They said she was a feisty one. December 1986 is when they noticed that she was
Like
not
Sophia?
doing really well. Oh yeah,
Like Sophia.
exactly
from
like
the Golden
Sophia.
Girls.
She
So
was
just
a feisty
picture
one.
Sophia from the Golden Girls, I guess.
Yeah, very feisty. But they
Picture
said
it. 1922.
right. Picture it. December 1986. So her Belle's daughter noticed she wasn't doing good.
All right.
She noticed that she just, even though like she had Alzheimer's, she was like she knew when her mom was doing okay.
Right.
She noticed in December her mom wasn't looking great. Well, Belle was found dead in her sleep at 74 years old in February of 1987. So another February death. Yikes.
Yikes.
We're getting into it. So the last victim was Edith Cook. She was 92 years old. She actually checked herself into the nursing home.
Interesting.
She was lonely. She didn't like living by herself. She wanted a community. She was apparently one of the most popular residents there. She saw it as a social scene.
Okay.
She never married. She never had kids. She kind of lived alone. So she wanted that, she just wanted that community because she was really social. So she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1985. In 1987, she got a really bad case of gangrene in her feet and was having to be treated at this nursing home as well. In 1987, some of her family came and said that Edith was fine. You know, her gangrene was getting better. She was on the up.
Yeah. Good.
Doing well.
Sounds great. When your gangrene's getting better, things are on the up.
Well, so that was April 6th when her family saw her and said she was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
April 7th, 1987,
One
she
day
was
later.
found dead.
One day later.
Yep, she was found dead in her bed. So those are their victims. I just thought, we should kind of talk about them and their personalities and why they were there.
So Edith Cook.
They were people before they were in this situation.
They're not just statistics.
They're not just statistics, and they're not just victims. They were actual people that literally were just trying to end their lives with dignity.
Sure.
So
As we all would.
exactly, and their families were entrusting of this place.
Ain't none of us making out of this alive.
None of us. And it's really sad because these nursing homes are expensive. These are not cheap places to put your family.
Not an Alpine Reserve, or what was it?
Alpine Manor.
That sounds like a liquor.
Alpine Manor.
Alpine Manor, yes.
So now we're back at where we started with this story, with Kenwood going in and saying, hey, my ex-wife has confessed to me.
Right.
So this detective that gets this case, I don't remember his name. Sorry. But he decides he's taking this really seriously.
Yeah.
He's like, he said
good.
for some
Somebody
reason,
should.
He's saying for some reason he just believed her. He knew, he believed Ken, and then he brought Kathy in, and she confessed to the whole thing.
Okay.
And she said, yeah, I was kind of the lookout. Me and Gwen did this to satisfy our sexual urges.
What?
Because taking control and
so they were getting off on this.
Yes, they were getting off on this. They like to take the lives of people. It excited them. Which is sick. It's so freaking gross.
That is really, really quite gross.
Yeah, so she confesses to everything. Says, yep, this is what happened. Gwen was the mastermind. Gwen was the one that did all the killing. I was just the lookout. That's all it was. So this detective decides, you know what? I need to go talk to Gwen Graham because he just didn't have any evidence. There was not enough evidence to prosecute this case with just Kathy confessing. There was no evidence that she did this, right? And the problem with it too was that 3 out of the 5 of the victims were cremated. So they couldn't even go dig them up and do autopsies and try to do more. So 2 of the victims actually were later interned, is what they call it, I guess. They were dug up and they did autopsies on them.
I thought that was exhumed.
Exhumed. Interned. What is that word?
I think that means when you like go into like a prison or something. I don't know.
No, I don't know. Okay.
Doggy, no kitty.
Sorry, our animals are like acting a fool back here. I'm trying to keep myself on track, but they are like...
They're being a bit much.
They're being a lot back there.
He's okay. He's a good boy.
So this detective flies to Tyler, Texas, where Gwen had moved back to with her girlfriend. Okay? So now we're back in Texas.
Sure it's not Tyler?
No.
Okay.
Shut up. It's Tyler.
Okay.
So he comes back and he takes Gwen in and interviews her. And is like, hey, your ex confessed to you guys killing these 5 residents. You know we know you did it. We got you. And Gwen denies everything. I didn't do this. Kathy's just really jealous because I got a new girlfriend and I dumped her. She's using this against me. You know, she's just jealous. Well, you know, the detective was like, well, shit, like, I can't do anything. I don't have any evidence. I can't hold her. There's no reason for me to hold her, you know. He even asked Gwen if she'll take a polygraph test. So they take Gwen takes a polygraph test and it comes back inconclusive. It doesn't really do anything.
Sure.
I don't know how I feel about polygraph tests either.
Yeah, I only know this from you, but apparently they're not as reliable as the news media would have you believe.
And they're not admissible in court, so.
Are they really not?
Yeah.
Then what's the point?
Exactly.
Okay.
Kind of what's the point? Oh. I think it kind of intimidates people.
We know what autopsy is. We just couldn't think of the word to pull somebody out of the ground.
Not autopsy. I was talking about like it's exhumed.
It's exhumed.
To take someone's body who's already been buried once and get them out.
Yeah, why do I know the death stuff?
I don't freaking know. Because
I've never done it before. Never done it before.
I know. I don't know what I think I was looking for a certain word, but I can't in my head remember.
You have no evidence.
I don't. You're right. So, anyways, Gwen, you know, she denies all of it.
I don't know, actually.
Well, Gwen denies everything to this detective. But the detective notices something really weird when he's interviewing her. Mm-hmm. Her girlfriend walks in. And her new girlfriend that she moved from Michigan with.
Okay.
Walks in and lays her head on Gwen's lap. Mm-hmm. And Gwen just starts stroking her hair and saying, "That's a good baby. That's a good baby."
That's very strange.
It was very strange. And the detective noted that and said it was like she was in control of her girlfriend. Like she had some kind of mental control over her. So in his head, he's thinking, well, now I think maybe she could have had some control over Kathy. Maybe she had this mind control over Kathy. Mind control? Like, or, you know, some kind of like a weird, like, they had a weird kind of relationship where she was like the dominant one.
Right. I don't know if mind control kind of sounds a little sci-fi.
Not mind control, but you know what I'm saying.
I understand.
She was controlling him.
Yeah. She had a strong influence over this subversive? No, not subversive. Submissive? That's not it. There's another one. But something like that, yeah. You know what I mean.
So this detective...
There's the ball gag person and the person who holds the chain. And do you figure out which one's the which?
Sadist?
Well, no, that's more like sadomasochist, I think, right?
I don't know.
It's S-N-M, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's more like bondage, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. We're
Anyways.
getting off topic here. So, detective leaves Texas, not having any more...
I mostly know that from, by the way, the awesome movie Pulp Fiction. The Gimp in the Basement.
Yes, I know.
I made you watch this movie.
I know, but I've only watched it one time.
When they capture...
oh, yes.
The guy who was gonna kill Bruce Willis.
Right, yes.
But Bruce Willis decides that, it's like, fine. I'm gonna go save this guy.
Right.
You know, maybe I'll get some brownie points and he'll call off the murder, which is what happens.
You're right.
And then he kills the redneck people.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. And they strangely have a person all like bound up.
Yes.
Like in the basement.
Yes, I do remember
and
that now.
serves no purpose in the movie whatsoever, except for Bruce Willis to punch in the face. It's very weird.
That was a
Pulp
weird-
Fiction, awesome movie if you haven't seen it.
Very strange.
It's like
movie.
40 years old now.
So
God,
crazy.
time is moving so fast.
Time is crazy.
Old movies are like ancient movies now.
So this detective leaves Texas. He has no other like evidence, but he knows, he's like knows in his gut that this actually happened, and Gwen was a big reason why that happened. So goes back up to Michigan, goes to Gwen and says, "Hey, look,
A buried body is post-mortem. That's true.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
For
Nope.
sure.
Yeah.
absolutely." So goes back to Michigan and tells Kathy, "Hey, Gwen is denying all of this. Like, I need you to testify against her. I need you to do a polygraph.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna need you if we're gonna get her on this. Like, I need you to testify against her."
Okay.
So Kathy agrees to it.
Okay.
She says, "All right,"
All right.
and in turn, she gets a plea deal.
Mm.
So they go to court. Right.
All right.
I watched some of the court proceedings. Gwen stuck with the fact that
Just deny.
she denied everything. She says she didn't do anything. Kathy's making this whole thing up. These people, they didn't kill these people. They died of natural causes.
Really? Wow.
But the medical examiners that did the autopsy on those two women who,
That were not cremated.
said actually he changed their cause of death to homicide.
Murder.
To murder, yes, to homicide. So they were both convicted. They were found guilty.
Good.
So yeah, good, exactly, because that doesn't actually sometimes this doesn't work out.
Yeah,
And they
sure.
just get away
They get
with
away
it.
with it. Yeah.
After watching all of this, I think Gwen did have it. I think she was the one who did the murders.
She was the mastermind.
I think she was. I think Kathy probably had a little bit more to do with it than she says.
She was complicit.
She was complicit. I think she may have even took part in it. I don't think she was just the watch,
Yeah.
like the lookout. And that's just me saying
You can only plead innocent so much. No kidding.
Sorry, guys. Gwen Graham was ultimately, so she was actually charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder.
Wow. How much was Kathy charged with?
Kathy was found guilty on 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to murder.
How many years?
20 to 40 years in prison.
Damn. For Kathy?
For Kathy.
And then like 5,000 or whatever.
Oh, she was sentenced to life.
Right.
Without parole.
Why did they do like 20 life sentences? Is it just so they can never ever have a chance of it getting out?
Yeah, because sometimes like
in case some people live 20 times the life expectancy.
Oh, no. Just so, like, let's say one of the cases falls through and there's an appeal that gets through, and let's say that they're like, okay, we're not going to charge you with this murder.
Yeah.
There's still 4 others that they have. It's to ensure these people never get out.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's the multiple counts that gets the consecutive sentences.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
So that's why they do it. It's just to say, look, you ain't never getting out. All right. So, this is so crazy. So, Kathy was released.
She was a chatty Kathy.
She was a chatty Kathy. Kathy Wood was released.
Yeah. On good behavior.
On good behavior?
Yeah.
You want to guess when she was released?
When?
January of 2020.
Wow.
Wow.
She could have started the pandemic.
Well, January, you're right.
She's
Although-
patient zero.
She's patient zero.
They should have just left her in.
She was in China at some point?
I don't know. They could have brought some like Chinese food in. Listen, I don't know how this works.
You're so silly.
I love Chinese food, by the way.
Same.
We just had some of the best food. My personal favorite, which is it's Mala Szechuan. Szechuan, super spicy, amazing, authentic Chinese food is literally my favorite food in the entire world.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, it used to be Italian. No, not anymore. That stuff.
Szechuan style Chinese food.
Authentic, not the kind from like where you'd get like General Tso's or orange chicken. That ain't it. You want to go where like when you go inside, your shoes are sticking to the floor and the bathrooms smell like death. But the food is the bomb.
Although, I don't know, that place was pretty clean. And I didn't go to
They
the
didn't bat
bathrooms.
the bathroom.
I didn't go to the bathrooms.
And are you kidding me? Going up the stairs was a little sticky.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Clean your stairs, y'all. But y'all, Mala, you have the best food in the world. That's really all that matters.
In the world, it's delicious.
Just don't wear your good shoes if you're going there. That's all. Pandemic started in 2019. Damn it. Our theory is debunked.
Yeah. I almost said that, but I was like, I'm not even getting into it. I was like, I think it actually kind of started in 2019.
Yeah, all right.
Like,
So, all right,
November-ish.
Kathy Wood, you're off the hook for that one.
But she was released in January 2020, and she moved to South Carolina.
Well, good riddance.
So-
Michigan doesn't want you. Well, she wasn't from Michigan, was she?
Not originally,
Not
but that's
originally.
where she
Right.
moved. So she is now out and about, and she could be listening to this podcast. I
Oh
hope
my
not.
God.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So if she searches herself and finds us, you suck. I hate you.
Yeah,
You should
murdered
be murdering
people.
old people.
Don't
and
do
it's
that.
terrible.
Bad. No.
You think that's gonna work?
It might.
It might.
She's submissive. That's the word I was looking for.
I said that.
Did you?
I said submissive.
Submissive?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And you're like, no.
Well, I don't know what I was trying to get at.
But that's the case of the lethal lovers. That is what they call them in the media. I don't know if I love that name.
Lethal lovers. It sounds a little campy.
It's a little campy and a little kitschy. I don't love it.
Like when I was asking you to put what should I name this episode? Because you have to name it first before you do the thing. I was like, lethal lovers.
It's stupid, but that's what people call them in the media.
Fair
That's
enough.
what they got coined when their trial was going on.
All right.
So that's the case of Gwendolyn Graham and Kathy Wood.
All right.
It sucks, but I thought it should be talked about because I haven't actually heard of that case. It was the first time I'd ever heard about it.
Oh, by the way, this is Ashley and Kevin.
Oh, I mean, if you're, I figured if you were here, you have listened to our others. Maybe
No,
not.
probably
though.
not. That's not how the internet works. This isn't like 1980s TV where you have to like.
That's true. Okay, at the
I
end
don't
of the
know.
show,
Or-
my name's Ashley. This is Kevin.
Yeah, we do this thing. I just sit here and comment because I have no idea what's going on. Ashley does all the research, all the work.
And this was actually, like I said, it was a new one for me because this was all off of my memory. You can ask Kevin. I wasn't looking at anything except for about the victims.
Yep, all off the cuff.
I had written down like very specific things about the victims just so I got it right. But all the other stuff I memorized because I had just watched so much crap about this case. So I was like, let me just remember it off the top of my head instead of freaking trying to write down everything. Thank you.
Good.
So we'll see. I don't know. I may do it like this in the future. I don't know.
I liked it.
Good. Well,
Well,
I guess.
I hope you guys liked it too.
I hope so. Tell us what you think. Give us any tips. We are happy to take them.
All right. This is Kevin. Bye.
Bye. Ashley signing off.